So moving on, I want you to, you had highlighted about insurance earlier on, right? After savings, it's insurance. So given that we are just going to be like a few more minutes into a discussion, I want you to touch upon what is the need for insurance and how insurance is, how one can take up insurance, and then we'll move on to the last part, which is credit.
Yep. So I'll talk about how important is insurance. It's more important than savings, I would say. First of all, if you start your savings journey, na, you have a cycle. You get the income, you spend your expenditure, then save it. Or I should say, before expenditure, save it. This is a cycle of it. You can't build your fortune with the savings in a shorter period of time. But what if there's an unforeseen event in your life? एग्जाम्पल कोई हेल्थ एक्सपेंडिचर आ गया मेरे पास, कोई ऑपरेशन करना है मुझे, मेरी फैमिली में मेरे मॉम डैड को कुछ हो गया या मुझे कुछ हो गया, मेरी फैमिली को उतनी सेविंग से कुछ नहीं होने वाला. दे वोंट बी एबल टू सस्टेन विद द very minute savings I had in my early stages. Even though I invested into bond markets, stock markets, everything. Then there comes concept called health insurance, life insurance. This insurance for everything, but I'll touch upon two things: health and life. Before life, I'll say health insurance पहले लो आपने, because life को क्या करेंगे जब तक हेल्थ ही तुम्हारी नहीं है. तो हेल्थ के पहले तो ध्यान रखो,
Yes.
लाइफ लेने से पहले अपनी हेल्थ देखो. See your health, then go for towards your life. हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस का कॉन्सेप्ट वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्यों है, जब सबके इंपॉर्टेंट कोविड में क्यों आया? बिकॉज कोविड में क्या हुआ था, कोविड से मैं कोविड का एक पिवटल पॉइंट ऐसा ले रहा हूँ बिकॉज ये इन्होंने इस चीज ने सबकी लाइफ चेंज कर इन अ गुड और बैड वे, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग, पर सबकी लाइफ किसी न किसी तरह चेंज की है. सो हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस का कॉन्सेप्ट ये है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल हाउ यू एंड मी नो हाउ बैड द मेडिकल सिचुएशन इन इंडिया इज, हाउ medical expenses are there in India. For even a single injection, you have to pay like 500, 1,000 rupees, 1,500, 2,000. Everything is like too much expensive. There comes a point of health insurance. तुम एक प्रीमियम पे करते हो हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस को, कंपनीज को. देयर आर मेनी कंपनीज इन इंडिया. कौन अच्छी कौन बुरी है, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट पॉइंट. बट एक पॉइंट होता है कि मैं कुछ पे कर रहा हूँ, एक मैं किसी को एक्सपेंस पे कर रहा हूँ टू सेव गार्ड मी. यू आर पेइंग समवन टू सेव गार्ड यू. If I pay, for example, if I'm taking an insurance of 10 lakh rupees, some people would think that I'm paying for 10 lakh cover in the sense जो मेरे expenses below 10 lakh होगा वो insurance company pay करेगी. If I'm paying for 10 lakh cover, I'm paying around like 10,000 a year, 8,000, 5,000 depending on your age. But as early you start, na, your premium will be very less because you are in better health conditions. कंपनीज को पता होता है कि एवरी 8 years में प्रीमियम चेंज होता रहता है. द बेटर यू टेक इट फर्स्ट, उतना ही प्रीमियम कम होगा. अब तुम प्रीमियम पे कर रहे हो, यू हैव द सेंस ऑफ सिक्योरिटी दैट इफ समथिंग हैपेंस टू मी, माय इंश्योरेंस कंपनी विल टेक केयर ऑफ मी. ये सब तुम्हारे लिए नहीं है, तुम्हारी फैमिली के भी होता है. देयर आर टू एक्चुअली इंश्योरेंस, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस दो कॉन्सेप्ट में आ जाते हैं इंडिया में. द वन इंश्योरेंस यू टेक इट योरसेल्फ. मैं कंपनी के पास गया, मैंने बोला कि मुझे इंश्योरेंस चाहिए, मैं इंश्योरेंस मिल जाती. समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपन, यू स्टार्ट अ जॉब ना, द कंपनी यू आर वर्किंग फॉर दे हैव अ इंश्योरेंस फॉर यू आल्सो. दे दैट्स अ सेपरेट थिंग, दे हैव अ वेस्टेड इंटरेस्ट. ये बंदा बीमार हो गया तो हमारा काम कौन करेगा, इससे इंश्योरेंस रखते इसके लिए. बट दैट्स अ गुड पॉइंट फॉर यू आल्सो कि कोई ना कोई तो मेरे कवर कर रहा है. मुझे कुछ हो गया तो मेरी कंपनी की वाया कंपनी तो कुछ मुझे सिक्योर कर रही है. बट दैट डजंट कवर योर होल फैमिली. होता क्या है कि वो कवर बहुत छोटा होता है कई बार. द कंपनी आई यूज्ड टू वर्क used to give a cover of 3 or 5 lakh rupees. It used to be 3 lakh, then it changed to 5 lakh during the COVID. But still 5 lakh is, for me and my family, is very less. What if my whole family is into hospital? So 5 lakh का कुछ नहीं होने वाला उससे. So what happens? I always suggest the people who are into salaries ना, वो अपने इंश्योरेंस कंपनी से ले. और इंश्योरेंस लेने का ये फायदा है, इनकम टैक्स में डिडक्शन में मिल जाती है तुम्हें. 80C 80E में ना एक डिडक्शन मिल जाती है. That is considered your expenditure into your income. So to pay less tax on it. एंड तुम इंश्योरेंस ले लोगे, उससे क्या होगा, तुम्हारा एक सिक्योर हो गए तुम. एंड आई से कि जैसे हस्बैंड वाइफ होते हैं, तो हस्बैंड अपनी फैमिली के इंश्योरेंस लेगा, तो वाइफ कैन टेक इंश्योरेंस फॉर देयर फैमिली आल्सो. And that is covered through your income tax bracket also कि तुम उस चीज को प्रिजर्व कर रहे हो. दूसरा आता है लाइफ इंश्योरेंस. लाइफ इंश्योरेंस का सिंपल थंब रूल इज whatever you're earning na, take the insurance of 25 times of it. So for example, you are earning like 1 million rupees per year. Take the insurance of anything between 220 million rupees or 25 million rupees.
So the rule is rule of 25.
Rule of 20,
Multiply
25.
25
25
what you
times.
earn.
25 times of your annual income. बट कई लोग ये बोलते हैं कि लाइफ इंश्योरेंस लेने का सबसे अच्छा पॉइंट क्या होता है. पॉइंट इन द सेंस व्हाट्स द एंट्री पॉइंट, व्हाट्स द एग्जिट पॉइंट. आई टेक द एग्जांपल ऑफ यू पवन. पवन, व्हाट इज योर एज?
24.
24. एट व्हाट एज यू आर गोना गेट मैरिड? कौन सी एज पे तुमने सोचा कि मैं शादी कर
Assume it to be 30, 29 to 30.
30. आई एम 30.
Yeah.
30. 30. So हमारा लाइफ एक्सपेंडिचर आई थिंक मेरा 65 है बिकॉज एवरेज इंडिया में लाइफ एक्सपेंडिचर इज अराउंड 65 ओनली. आई टेक दैट पॉइंट 65. हमारे पास कितनी लाइफ बच गई अभी? 35 years.
So,
If you have a child right after your marriage, 30, 31, 32 में आपका एक बच्चा हो रहा है, वो बच्चा कौन सी एज पे जाके अपने पैरों पे खड़ा हो सकता है? इन योर व्यू एक कौन सी एज पे जाके खड़ा होगा? 20, 25, 30 पे तो खड़ा हो जाएगा ना. उसके बाद मुझे लाइफ इंश्योरेंस चाहिए. मेरा लाइफ इंश्योरेंस लेने का प्लान ये था कि जब तक मैं अर्न करता हूँ तब तक मैं अपनी फैमिली को सिक्योर कर. जब मेरी फैमिली खुद अर्न करना शुरू कर दे तो मुझे सिक्योर करने की जरूरत है. एट अ सर्टेन पॉइंट यस, बट नॉट बियॉन्ड दैट. मेरा पॉइंट ये था कि 65 तक अगर मेरा बच्चा या मेरी फैमिली सस्टेनेबल है तो मेरे इंश्योरेंस से बियॉन्ड नहीं चली चाहिए बिकॉज उसका प्रीमियम इंक्रीज होना शुरू हो जाता है हमेशा. So take your insurance in keeping in mind that the loved ones, your support, the people you are going to support, वो अपने एक लेवल तक सस्टेनेबल हो जाए तब तक एक तुम्हारा कवर होना चाहिए. हाउ मेनी इयर्स? 30, 35, 40 इयर्स का कवर उस टाइम तक ही होना चाहिए. लाइफ इंश्योरेंस का यही मोटो है. तुम चले जाने के बाद तुम्हारी जो लाइबिलिटीज है, कई बार तो ये होता है कि तुम्हारी लाइबिलिटीज के अगेंस्ट तुम इंश्योरेंस लेके चले हो. जैसे तुम्हारे ऊपर एक होम लोन है, कार लोन है, एनीथिंग, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द एसेट्स, वो तुम्हारे ऊपर है. तो उसके सेफ गार्ड करने के लिए तुम इंश्योरेंस ले लेते हो कि मुझे कुछ हो जाए तो मेरे अलावा कुछ जो बंदे थे, द पीपल हु आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन मी, दे डोंट हैव टू पे फॉर द थिंग्स आई वाज बेयरिंग फॉर मी. हाउस वाज माय नीड. मेरे बच्चों की नीड नहीं, वो मेरे लिए क्यों पे करेंगे? पहली बात तो ये. द पॉइंट शुड बी assuming that I am not transferring my assets to my children. Let's take a crude example कि मैं अपने एसेट्स ट्रांसफर नहीं करने, देन व्हाई शुड दे बेयर इट फॉर यू? हाँ, अगर तुम्हारी वाइफ है वो अगर सस्टेन वाला, शी कैन पे फॉर यू, बट मैं भी उसके लिए कुछ छोड़ के जाऊं कि तू मेरा बर्डन तुम ले लो यार. आफ्टर यू लीव योर लाइफ ना, द पीपल शुड लव यू, नॉट कर्स यू. एंड लाइबिलिटी इज वन थिंग, द पीपल विल ऑलवेज कर्स यू. ये लाइफ में हमारे भी एक रह चुका है. कई हमारे दादाजी कुछ तो चले जाते हैं ना, हम सोचते हैं वो अपने बच्चों के लिए कर्जा छोड़ गए. वो ना हो, कम से कम लाइफ इंश्योरेंस लेके रखें एक सर्टेन पॉइंट तक. तो लाइफ इंश्योरेंस एक ही मोटो है. वट आर द लाइबिलिटीज यू आर हैविंग और द सपोर्टिंग द योर पीपल यू आर सपोर्टिंग ना, उनके लिए तुम छोड़ के जाओ कुछ ना कुछ.
guys, this is a very, very important point. When to take life insurance and when to opt out of it. This is something you have to keep in mind because we all see our parents at a point of time take a life insurance and it's excellent. We do not know or we are not aware of how much, what is the policy that they take, what is the exact time period, and make sure next time somebody comes to your home and asks if you are interested in life insurance, ask all of these details. What's the time period and what is the exact benefit that is going to accrue out of it for you. So on that note, I have one query regarding insurance. So this is a little bit out of context of personal finance, but still, people who run businesses, they're all based in short, small-time businesses. Do you think in India, given the tendency to, in business families, etc., you might have a lot of defaults, and then do you really think they would prefer taking insurance because the family itself is having it's like coming around like an insurance cover to sort of stop any outside But, in general, what I meant to say is, you have a business family, let's say, of 10 people, 15 people in a family. They're running a business together. So in that case, do you really think they would opt for insurance? Because this is a question I was confronted with long ago when I found insurance tendency in India among business families to have their own. The family itself is insuring against any problem. Do you really think that's going to happen at a macro scale?
In my personal opinion, no. To keep your business and your personal finance separate. You should have a motto why I am having insurance. You're not having insurance for your business, but your loved ones, for your liabilities.
Right, right.
Now there comes a point of liabilities. For example, you have a sole proprietorship and you have taken a huge amount of loan. Over there, the liabilities is in your name. There you can take your life insurance. That's a good point. But what if you have a partnership firm, a private limited company? There you have the concept of LLP, limited liability partnership, limited liability company. Over there, you don't have the liability of the assets. In a sense, the business has separate entity and you are a separate entity. The liabilities of the business are not attached to your assets. That's the point. Take insurance in a case of business only when you are the sole proprietor of the business, or only when if you die, your business will also die. The person who's the next person can't take over your business. Then the liability of the business actually tends to take over the family. Therefore, I would say
Right.
the insurance component is good, but not in other cases where the limited liability is always there.
All right, Manpreet. So that's something very important and very interesting because we have this tendency to see where in business families they do generally come together and support the family in times of crisis. And this is seen in a lot of cases, be it any business family you take it in a big business family where they jointly run the business. And this in that context is something very interesting to note. And I have the last segment of this podcast. I think we have covered a lot of ground in this, and I think our viewers will be really interested to watch from this start. So, at this point of time, I'll also let you guys know that the description for Manpreet's articles, which he has written earlier on, will be available in the description below. And don't forget to read them. So Manpreet, yeah, moved from in general what is personal finance and then from savings and investment and why investment options vary, why gold is a good one, why gold has its own pros and cons as well. And then we move to insurance. From now insurance, I would want to go to the most hot topic people try to wonder about, and even economic policymakers like me and you debate about credit. तो क्रेडिट क्या होता है उसके आगे व्हाट इज क्रेडिट में बहुत चीजें हैं बहुत प्रॉब्लम भी होता है कभी कभी लेने में और आजकल की सिचुएशन हालत देखा तो कभी कभी लगता है कि if the credit market is actually doing well. So what are your thoughts? And you can let us know what exactly credit means and what encompasses all about it, and then you can give us a closing remark about the whole personal finance structure.
Absolutely. So the first point in credit should always be where does it come from? Why do we need it? And how much we do it? How much do we need it? Does need and how much? This should be a baseline कि मुझे क्रेडिट चाहिए क्यों? Why do we need the credit? ये आता कहाँ से? And use कैसे करेंगे इस चीज को? There are many ways the credit can come. Right now, I'll take an example. We are in the generation where we don't keep the cash in our pockets. We either keep debit cards or credit cards. Debit card is your money, let's say. But credit card is not your money. Simply saying, credit card is not your money. हम credit card लेते हैं, go to a restaurant, we think yeah, this is like 2000 rupees dinner, I'll pay for it. And we when we are paying from credit ना, हमारे अंदर ना एक वो बात ना अच्छे से पचती नहीं है. अरे ये ठीक है, credit तो चला गया, मैं मुझे I have to pay like after 40 days, after 30 days, I have to pay it. This sense of saying कि मेरी salary आएगी, if I earn something, I'll pay for it. And that's not a good tendency actually. You're not starting your credit journey in a good way. Good credit is also there. We'll talk about it in next 2 or 3 minutes, but we'll talk about bad credit first. Credit का मतलब ये है कि उधार देना, लेना.
Sure.
The person who has surplus will lend to the person who has the deficit. But the person who is taking the deficit, is he taking for the good cause or a bad cause? That's the first point it should take consider. If I'm taking for a home loan, that's a good cost because मैं एक घर बना रहा हूँ अपने लिए. I'm investing into something by taking a credit. I mean, I'm investing into something called appreciating asset while taking a credit. That's a good point. It's always a good point to take a credit for something which has a appreciation value, but not a good point when you're investing into something called depreciating asset. For your car, car is a utility. So think about car as a utility. It takes from a point A to point B, and car should not be think if it takes from point A to point B and वो आपकी पॉकेट को डिप्लीट कर रही है बहुत ज्यादा. बड़ी गाड़ी ले ली मैंने, एक बंदा घर पे मैंने बड़ी गाड़ी ले ली, मतलब ही नहीं था उस गाड़ी का. Just for the show off, I'm taking a big car when there is a need only for a small car. We should have actually invested into something which has a real value, appreciating value. वहाँ बैड क्रेडिट हो गया. दूसरा बैड क्रेडिट ये होता है कि मैंने हर चीज दिस टेंडेंसी इन आवर यूथ, ये मैं भी कर चुका हूँ. मैंने बोलूंगा मैंने नहीं किया. I have done the same thing when I started my job. The first thing I got my credit card. The first thing I did as a bad thing was like I got a credit card, not the investment journey. I didn't save anything. I didn't put my money into emergency fund. I didn't put my money into stock market. I didn't put my money anywhere. I took a credit card first. This is my first bad decision, I would say. But मैंने उसको सुधारा है काफी अच्छे से. I took a credit card. क्रेडिट कार्ड में ना मेरी सैलरी से डबल अमाउंट का एक लिमिट थी. मुझे लगा मेरी क्रेडिट वर्दीनेस बहुत ज्यादा. आई थॉट माय क्रेडिट वर्दीनेस इज टू मच. द कंपनी इज ऑफरिंग मी डबल द अमाउंट ऑफ व्हाट आई एम अर्निंग इन अ मंथ. And this has a very bad psychology on your mind. A very bad psychology. It gives you a illusion that you can spend much more than your salary. And this is a debt trap. Once you get into this trap, now, it's very difficult to get out of it. And this and once you start your expenditure way above your means, na, it will have very bad tendency that you can't cut short it. एक बार एक शराबी की एक ना एग्जांपल लेता हूँ. एक बार जाइंट टेनिस पे चला गया, वर्ल्ड कप में वापस नहीं आने वाला बंदा. वो एक बार चला गया वहां पर. He has to pay like 3,000 4,000 for a bottle. और वो अगर रम के लिए पे करता तो इज लाइक 200 500 700 मैक्सिमम. तो उसको वापस लेके आना बहुत मुश्किल है. दिस इज द सेम इफेक्ट ऑन योर माइंड. वंस यू स्टार्ट योर एक्सपेंडिचर ऑन योर क्रेडिट, that has the same effect as a drunkard. The person who used to spend less amount of money on alcohol, now he has to spend much more money on the alcohol. But वो वापस नहीं आ पा रहा. He's not getting back to the same level of the things he
So
used
it's
to.
can we call it a credit spiral where it just यहाँ नीचे से ऊपर जा रहा है थोड़े मतलब
Call it as a cascading effect. Call it a cascading effect.
right.
You get a credit. You get a credit. तुम उससे कुछ लेते हो, वो तुम्हारे लिए मतलब. हाँ, एक और अच्छा पॉइंट है इसमें. माय यंगर ब्रदर आस्क्ड मी कि मुझे एक लैपटॉप लेना है. आई सेड टेक इट. So we had a budget around 50,000 rupees. So he's like, should I take this Acer laptop or Dell laptop? I was like, take a MacBook. He's like, that cost me around 1 lakh. अब मुझे उसके लिए क्रेडिट लेना पड़ेगा एक्स्ट्रा 50,000 का. Some people would think yeah, that 50,000 what I'm paying is for the depreciating asset. इसका वैल्यू नहीं है. But there's a slight point here which I want to touch it. If you're paying for something and that device or that medium is getting you returns or positive returns in your money, in your education, in your information, knowledge, anything, that's a real appreciating asset for you. For example, if I've taken a laptop, that's a MacBook, cost me around 1.5 lakh, 1 lakh rupees. नॉर्मल लैपटॉप भी लेके पढ़ सकता था, मगर मैं वो लैपटॉप लेके कुछ अच्छा प्रोडक्टिव काम कर रहा हूँ. वीडियो एडिटिंग, फोटो एडिटिंग, समथिंग आई एम डूइंग समथिंग प्रोडक्टिव जहां से मुझे पैसे मिल रहे हैं. आई कैन स्पेंड इट फॉर इट बिकॉज वहां से मुझे कैश फ्लो आ रहा है. आई एम गेटिंग अ कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम दैट एसेट इवन दो दैट इज अ डेप्रिशिएटिंग एसेट.
I think in this context, guys, so don't worry about not if you think MacBook is too high, don't worry about it. You can take credit for it and then buy it. That's the whole point. You can take even an iPad and you can take a MacBook as well. Because using those tools, you'll be able to go further. You'll be able to earn more later. You'll be able to shift your job. That's the whole point. So the whole point, what we have to learn about it is invest. To take credit, take it by putting it in appreciating asset and not in depreciating ones. Yeah.
The second last point I'll make it. There's always a good credit and a bad credit.
Right.
That solely depends on you how you perceive the credit as a good or a bad. For me, something is bad would be good for you. For example, the MacBook has no utility for you. You can take a Acer laptop, Dell laptop, spend less money. That's a good credit for you. You can spend less money, save something on it. But if I take a MacBook that has no value for me, that's a bad credit. I took a bad decision. Simply saying, तो वो एक कटे हुए सेब की कोई वैल्यू नहीं है मेरे लिए. वो कोई मेरी कैश फ्लो जनरेट नहीं कर रहा, कुछ नहीं कर रहा, बेकार है मेरे लिए. Every asset has a good and a bad part, and you have to decide this is gonna get me something in the future or not. Simple point. एक और पॉइंट में टच करता हूँ, एजुकेशन लोन. आई हैव टेकन एजुकेशन लोन टू कम हियर एंड दैट्स अ कैलकुलेटेड रिस्क. हर एक क्रेडिट के साथ एक रिस्क एसोसिएटेड होता है. देयर इज ऑलवेज अ रिस्क एसोसिएटेड विद द क्रेडिट. इफ यू टेकिंग अ बैड और गुड, देयर इज अ रिस्क. एंड फाइनेंस का दूसरा मतलब ही रिस्क है. Simply saying, every finance has a risk, but the risk depends on your appetite. How much risk you can take it on yourself. If I've taken education loan of like 2 million rupees, 3 million rupees, 4 million rupees to go to States, UK, Canada, anywhere, अगर मैं उससे कैश फ्लो जनरेट कर रहा हूँ इन फ्यूचर, तो मेरे लिए अच्छा है. अब कोई तो यही होता है कि बहुत बड़ा क्रेडिट लेके ना यहाँ आते हैं, वापस इंडिया आ जाते हैं. यू अर्निंग इन रुपीज, पेइंग इन समथिंग फॉर यू स्पेंड इन यूके. बैड क्रेडिट. तुम उसको जनरेट कर पा रहे हो अपने से, दैट्स अ गुड क्रेडिट, आई वुड से. एंड दूसरा पॉइंट ये होता है, कई बार क्या होता है कि एक क्वेश्चन मेरे पास भी आया था. हाँ, एक बंदे ने पूछा था मेरे से, समवन आस्क्ड मी, आई हैव टेकन अ लोन इन द मार्केट, home loan. That's a good credit for me. I'm taking good credit example. And somewhere, I got a lottery. In some bonus, I wife got some money from the family. Should I pay my loan early and get rid of the credit? And there's a 2 point. If you have the perception that in the future I'm not going to earn money, pay it right now. Simple. Accept the market. But in the future, if you're going to earn much more money, for example, I'll say if in the chart, if you take a home loan, out of 100 rupees, you're paying 40 rupees as an EMI for the homeowner. That EMI is constant for next 30 years, 25 years, 15 years. So, monthly constant है, whatever it. But your income is not constant. It is growing at a rate every year. The percentage of your credit to your income should always go down in the coming years rather than going up. Even though the values का increase हो रहा है, 40 से कई बार मैंने दूसरा लोन ले लिया, 45 हो गया, 50 हो गया, goes to 60. But if your income is going up at a rate faster than your loan, that's a good credit, I would say. You are appreciating your value. But the point comes कि मुझे पहले पे करना चाहिए, ये नहीं करना चाहिए. I would say no. If you're paying for something which has a very low interest rate, don't pay it here. वही अमाउंट तो बचा के कई मार्केट्स में इन्वेस्ट करता है लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए, वो तो अच्छी एप्रिसिएशन देगा. उससे अलावा you're paying a loan at 8%, for example, I'll just say 8%, 6%, 7%, and the market is giving around 12%, 13%, 14% in the longer term. Why should I park my surplus in the pay off my surplus in terms of loans, or rather not invest in those markets? That's my personal example. But ये हर बंदे का नहीं होता ना. इनको जो फ्यूचर में पता है कि मेरी एक लाइफ खत्म होने वाली. For example, I'm sitting at the age of 50. I would say कि I won't pay my loans. That's a bad part. That's a bad thing. But if I'm in 20s, 25s, I say I will invest into the markets, but rather not pay my loans early. जो चल रहे हैं वो चल रहे, ये मतलब डिफॉल्ट कर जाता हूँ. जो चल रहे हैं उसको चल लेगा, सरप्लस उधर पार्क कर दो. So in all of the personal finance context, we boil down to three things: savings, insurance, and credit. But apart from these things, if you consider your all these things as an expense, you'll make your life much better. Savings is that your it's like your son, a good son, which will pay back you in next 30, 40 years, 25 years. जो तुम अच्छे से पे करेगा, तुम्हें कुछ क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछेगा, या तुमने मेरे पे क्यों यार इन्वेस्ट किया था, मेरे पे क्वेश्चन नहीं करेगा, तुमने बैड डिसीजन लिया, क्वेश्चन उसको पे करेगा तुम्हें. There are multiple ways to save. To sum it down, there are multiple ways to save. You have to boil down कि तुम्हें मार्केट को बीट करना है कि प्रिजर्व करना है. There's a concept called wealth preservation. There's a concept of wealth appreciation. अगर तुम्हें वेल्थ प्रिजर्व करना है, मुझे लगता है यार मेरे पास पैसे बहुत है, मुझे इतने से सफिशिएंट हो, then preserve it in the form of gold, savings account, fixed deposit, anything. But if you want to appreciate your asset, take a risk. There's always a risk to return reward ratio. अगर तुम्हें रिस्क डिफाइन करते हो तो रिटर्न तुम्हारे, अगर तुमने रिस्क को पहले देखा ही नहीं, मुझे रिस्क नहीं देखना, मुझे रिटर्न देखना है, तो रिस्क तुम्हारा कॉन्स्टेंट हो जाएगा. एक ही चीज को तुम कांस्टेंट रख सकते हो, या तो रिस्क को कांस्टेंट रखो या रिटर्न को कांस्टेंट रखो। हम जब बैंक में जाते हैं हम रिटर्न को कांस्टेंट रखते हैं, रिस्क को पता ही होता है बैंक तो डिफॉल्ट होने ही वाला हमारा।
Exactly.
मार्केट में जाते हैं ना, हम रिटर्न को डिफाइन नहीं कर सकते। हम हमें पता नहीं रिटर्न कितना होना है, ना हमें रिस्क पता है, रिस्क बहुत ज्यादा है, पर ये भी होता है कि रिटर्न भी ज्यादा आ सकता है, पर हमेशा नहीं होगा। मार्केट क्रैश होगी तो क्या करोगे? बट द पॉइंट भी, तुम पहले अपनी इन्वेस्टमेंट जर्नी को डिफाइन करो। Start defining your investment journey. At what stage will you invest? At what stage will you start saving, expenditure, everything. Talk about it with your family. Talk about it with your parents. Talk about it with your spouse, girlfriend, any time. मुझे एक बार किसी ने पूछा कि यार लाइफ में पहली बार सबसे टॉपिक अच्छे डेट पे टॉपिक बात करने वाला क्या है? मैं आई से कि स्टार्ट विद द फाइनेंस से। जो बिल आता है चेक करो कि कौन पे कर रहा है। अगर तुम पे कर रहे हो तो बताओ, समझ जाओ, split it.
But
That way you can actually have a confidence in finance. That's a personal finance I'm saying.
at the end of the day, I think risk is the name of the game, and it's essential that you take some amount of risk to get some really good returns. And I
And
have
एक बार मैं one last point I'll say is,
yeah,
कल किसने देखा है? कल किसी ने नहीं देखा. Nobody has seen the future. But for the past centuries we are seeing कि human के साथ कैसे होना है. एक pre-defined book है हमारे पास कि ये अच्छा वक्त आता है या बुरा वक्त आता है. There's happy days, there are sad days. In happy days prepare for your sad days, in sad days prepare for your happy days. ये हमेशा एक गांठ बांध के रख लो. Tie a knot for this thought. This is a thing which has been tested for centuries. There's nothing new we are talking about today. ये बहुत सदियों पुरानी बात है कि सेव करो यार, कल का हमें पता नहीं. There's nothing new we are talking today, but we are talking in a very fashionable way. In a sense, we are defining things it should be. But if you take something ना, जैसे एक दिलीप छाबड़ा एक नॉर्मल कार लेके भी ना उसको एक फैंटम बना था बेचारे को. That's like personal finance for you. You take that simple car out of in the market and take it back home. You define it yourself. There are hundreds of books in the market. Not every book will match to your thoughts, but you can take one thought from one book, another from it, and make another thought book of it out of it. And that's your journey for the personal finance, I would say.
well, this is something. This episode, this podcast that we've shot today, I think this is very relevant to everybody between, it can even be below 18, but to every youth out there, this tip that Manpreet has given today is something very relevant, and it's not just relevant, it'll actually, I hope this helps you all to get a new perspective of what investment is, what is saving, what is the right way to save, what is the right area to invest in, and when do you need to take insurance, and when do you need to take credit. And on that note, I think everybody who is watching this all the while, we might release it in two parts because we've gone really, really extensively into this topic. And I believe this is the right time for this kind of a topic to come up because we are we're still in the clutches of the COVID pandemic, which I will call Ching Chong pandemic. And this is a very, really relevant one. So don't miss out on this. And also, do check out Manpreet's articles, for which the link is going to be again, as I said earlier, is in the description already. And with that, I think Seedhi Baat is back again. Don't forget to like our videos, share it, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also check out on our Instagram page, which is also given in the description below. And with that, I hope we made a really good start this time. And don't forget to support us. And it's been, I'll also say that given in this comeback episode, your support has been very, very helpful, and that has actually kept us moving. And this is why CD Pass is back again, because we realize that so many are waiting out there for us to again to initiate this kind of a really relevant discussion for all you out there. On that note, see you again in the next episode. Hope you like this. And yes, till then, don't not just subscribe, but let everybody know what finance is through this video. Thank you, Manpreet, again for joining us. It's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
See you all.